I didn't hear about it until recently.
I mean, because it was a thing in the 70s.
Okay, well, I'll call the Cheney Parks Board to order, and we'll start off with roll call. So do we have Babcock,
Vacation.
Colin,
Yeah.
Randall,
Here.
Valencia's here, Berger here, Shelley's absent, and Colette resigned. So we do have a quorum. And then we'll go to citizen participation. If anyone from the public's in the room would like to speak or online, now is your time.
I'm Victoria Rouse, I'm just here by the door.
Well,
Thanks.
I'm Elsa, and the only thing I will be cool and really great. I've heard a lot of great feedback from people. I've also heard that we have a custodian for janitor. Is that also like first? Okay, maybe it is an improvement. I've heard multiple people say that. For sure that. Also, somebody's like, oh, it's really not that cool. It's like, oh, yeah, okay. But for sure, restrooms and locker rooms. I don't think that they can every day, because people have mentioned, like, we came every day for someone. Thing is there, so it could be. That's my comment. But also, there's a lot of people going in and out of there, so it doesn't look unhealthy or unsanitary. That's not really.
online? Okay. Then we'll do the approval of the minutes from last meeting. Chair will entertain a motion.
Will we approve the minutes?
Any discussion? Any edits? If not, all in favor of the motion, say aye. Aye. It was unanimously. Simon, and then we'll go to our first information item. Like Kelly, I think there was a Parks and Rec update in general that you wanted to, an announcement you wanted to give.
Dan's our new Parks and Rec director.
Yay!
Thanks.
What does this mean?
Well, so after being in the public works for the last 5 years, I started this last Monday transitioning over and been working with Kelly and Leslie on getting moved over, and really excited about the opportunity to work with all three of them, and just in general really excited about being back in Parks and Rec the last couple of years, being at these meetings. It seems like we're pretty close off. Just hearing about some of the challenges and opportunities. It's really exciting to work with everyone and dig in, and I feel like we've got so much potential to do great things. And if we have parks under the Parks and Rec umbrella, we have control over our own destiny and a lot of these challenges that we've been facing about like maintenance. And with that comes a lot of accountability that we gotta, the buck stops with us now. And so it's really excited about collaborating and getting all these things accomplished.
Congratulations. That's great. So does that also coordinate with you for these meetings, or how's that gonna work?
Oh, Dan will be your point of contact now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Also, Kelly.
Good to know. Nothing else. We'll go to aquatics update, Mr. Director.
So this is a really short agenda here. Really, at this point, final completion contractors are, it's September 11th. September 13th is they have to have everything finished. So right now, they're just doing like a lot of little punch list things, stuff that isn't quite screwed in right. A couple like the backstroke flags, if you notice in the pool, just little things like that. They've got until it. And also the playground needs to be installed. It probably won't be installed within this time frame, but that's on their to-do list too. So I thought I'd just share with you guys some statistics about the pool, and it'll help shape some future conversations about rates and things like that. So the facility's been open for 30 days. I've got 30 days with statistics anyway. We've had 61 public swim sessions. The reason why there's one extra is because somebody sponsored a Friday night swim too. So of those 61 sessions, 38 of them have been general admission, so people have paid a fee on 38 of the 61. 23 of them have been free. We've had 14,369 swimmers during public swim. 6,051 of those have been paid. 8,318 free swims so far. On the days when we have free swims, in the morning we're averaging 336 people. On the day when people pay a fee, in the morning we're averaging 161 people. When we're on the evenings when it's free, we're averaging 396 people, and when it's paid, it's 171. So combined, our daily morning attendance is 250 people roughly, and our afternoon combined attendance is 283 for a daily average total of 533. Yesterday we had 954 people during, it was during one of our sponsors, so it was pretty crazy. So those
Are those swimmers or just people through the door?
through the door, that's what we count, yeah, so hopefully they're all swimming a little bit, so, but
But the 954, that includes duplicates, right? So they went to both centers.
yeah, very well, yeah, there's so much good data we're not capturing, like zip codes, especially on the 3 days, because we're just basically opening the corral, people are cruising in there. But it'll be really interesting to be able to see too of those paid attendees, how many of them are ages 0 to 2, which are not paying not anything. And so anyway, we've got lots of interesting data to collect there. One just observation as we collect all of our expenses to help us figure out what we need to charge in the future. Our lifeguard costs are going to be very, very high. We started off with way too many at a time because we were learning and trying to whittle it down. And now a bunch of lifeguards go back to school, so now we're going to start getting leaner and more efficient. So, but anyway, does anybody have any questions?
I was wondering if we could have either Matthew or one of the head guards at our September meeting, just to ask them. I'd just be curious. Chris knows a lot of this, but I was just curious. I was there once when it was super crowded, and so the diving board's open, but not the climbing wall and the ropes, and so there were a zillion of us packed in the shallower end, and then there's, one kid swimming from the diving board to the side and the other end. And I mentioned it to Chris, and she said, well, because you have a lifeguard watching the shallower end, and then you have a lifeguard watching the kid on the board, and if you had somebody on the climbing wall, because they'd have to work at it to collide. But she said, if you happen to have one of those kids hurt at each thing, you don't have enough people to take care of it. You see what I'm saying? So if a kid went off the diving board, splatted, and needed help, that lifeguard over there would help him. And then a kid falls off the climbing wall and knocks his head or who knows what. I don't know how you could get hurt doing that, but whatever. Then there's nobody for that guard unless you take the guard who's watching these people. So, I don't know, I was just curious. Plus today, the girls and I were playing in basketball. And, then they can't have the ninja course open, which I don't understand either. Matthew and I talked about that early in season. And I'm assuming that's also a guard issue. But then that puts some more guards on instead of fewer. So, I don't know, I just thought it would be interesting to talk to them and let them know ahead of time in case they had anything to tell us or ask for.
Well, everybody wants to, I think, meeting at the aquatic center, conference room next meeting would be kind of cool.
Oh, yeah, we would contemplate it.
Oh, yeah, it's the best, you gotta check it out.
Then we should be
Dan was
meeting
using
there.
it as his office for the first.
Oh, it's so nice and quiet and air conditioned in there, you'll have to,
We should meet there.
enjoy it.
Yeah.
We should probably have got the
Are you gonna bring them?
I can even bring zucchini muffins, they'd be kind of
Absolutely, well,
healthy.
it's always welcome.
It's a different facility.
Oh, look, it's always welcome.
I feel like you have brought us treats before.
No, because we had a meeting on Valentine's Day.
Oh, that's right, yeah.
Yes, that's right.
Now, I got a question. What, any unexpected things come up so far, like you weren't anticipating? Say the pool, lifeguards, shifts, anything?
This is probably how we were going, but I would say getting a chance to meet some of these lifeguards has been, I mean, just absolutely phenomenal. We had one of the ladies that left us today, she was doing track research, she got a track scholarship to University of North Carolina. There's these D1 athletes who's these really smart, talented kids that are different, have nothing to do with sports or something, but that is not where you're going. I think, have you guys come across some challenges that on the operations side maybe?
I mean, personally for me, more so leveling out chemicals, but
Figure that out.
yeah, there was a delay in getting cyanuric in the pool, which was burning up our chlorine, and we've been going through probably a regular weekly refill of our chlorine, just with sun evaporation, but we finally, me and our other maintenance worker, Matt Meyer, we were there until after 10 last Thursday, putting in, 100 pounds worth of cyanuric acid into the pools just to finally stop the chlorine burn off, but just kind of getting those things adjusted. And then once you add the cyanuric, there's another week where there's a good little mixture of chemistry you got to deal with. But I would say that's the biggest thing. And then, helping the lifeguards, because they're right now in charge of our strainers. But I think next season we're going to kind of fully take that away from them. But a lot of just the operational sides, just because our pump room's so advanced, just learning kind of those things.
Was it difficult also when the pool was at capacity a couple of times to keep the chemical balance?
That's actually not as hard as more so just keeping the capacity and the folks that are waiting in line kind of at bay. Because I think, what was it, yesterday was free swim, or the day before we hit our capacity within the first hour. Folks were lined up all the way around, wrapped around up to diagonal parking on North 7th.
What is capacity?
What is capacity, yeah?
Well, 480, but comfortably with the lifeguards we have on stand, it's roughly a 1 to 25 ratio, so we kind of cap it at 370.
When Paul came, we hit capacity in 6 minutes. I think you were there that day too.
You got that many people in 6 minutes?
Yeah, it was free, so
So that's just the people, not swimmers.
yeah, again, we don't know for sure.
Yeah.
Who's gonna get in the pool?
Yeah.
They're just standing there, click, 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 click.
And then the people are waiting and like, are you leaving?
Yeah.
So you need some buskers or something to entertain the crowds?
Yeah.
Wow. Set the sprinklers going.
That hasn't happened too many times, has it? I know the opening day it did.
Mostly on free swim, and then, the weather as well, because I know we had another free swim event, but then we only hit, I think it was that other last week when it was kind of sprinkling a little bit, overcast.
Oh, yeah.
I think we only hit maybe 100 both sessions, just because the weather and whatnot. But if it's a nice day like today, we would have hit capacity really fast.
And what is the wait for the people that are waiting? Do you have average wait time or?
It kind of just depends on the amount. We've noticed some folks will be there the full, 3-hour session and then into the next session, but they'll have to go out, wait all the way behind the line. But some families are in and out, maybe hour and a half, 2 hours, and then we can kind of start getting more folks in. But it fluctuates.
Want to talk about the pricing, passes, or how that's been?
Yeah, so one of the things, obviously we've learned that some really good community feedback we had, we shot ourselves in the foot a little bit on some of the wording, like with the adult being age 6 to 59, and people like saying that they're a 6-year-old, not an adult, and the daily rate really not really representing the fact that there's 2 sessions in a day. But it's really calmed down dramatically, like from what I'm hearing, ever since. We also didn't want to say up front, we have all these free days, because we were afraid if we said we have like 30 free days, that people would just come on those days and then not pay, so sort of bounce out. But anyway, not a lot of feedback. People still say that if we did $7 for a daily rate, that would be more than fair. I mean, that seems to be the consensus. down to really dig in. Once we really figure out what our expenses are soon here with our chlorine costs and some of these, so we just got our gas bill for the first 30 days of being open was $7,200 for natural gas. So anyway, like I said, lifeguard costs $7,200. But anyway, I wasn't sure what the gas bill would be. That was a little surprising. But yeah, so have any other thoughts about pricing before we start trying to that process?
I do think that it will help next summer with a full summer to do passes. Season pass. And I know that you talked to a lot of people about family passes, and I guess that's kind of a hassle to determine what's a family. And how many people does that include and so forth. But, some people ask about that.
Not to beat a dead horse, but we really have to do a better job informing the public too next year, because we are the only ones that do like a 10-day pass that I'm aware of in this area. And then like the family pass and the season pass, those are also things that people don't do. And so, we do have some really affordable options that we're trying to make possible. And so we gotta do a better job next year.
So what if you did do like 6, so where does it start, did you have 23?
Yes.
So if you did, let's say 3 to 12, as a youth, for $7 a day, and then 13 on up, could be $10.
Yeah, there's a whole scenario.
No, because then the children are getting.
Well, it sounds like when we have our data this summer.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
We're still gonna be kind of like hoping we did a good job capturing some of those demographics that really help us drill down.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do we have any idea what our cost recovery is right now?
No idea. When we go into like where our Navaline system, it's just lumped together, so we can't get real specific right now, that I'm aware of anyway.
And then once school starts, then it's, there's no way we can keep going on weekends, so.
That's a great question. We really have to figure something out quick on that as well. That's something that we're seeing. The last day right now is scheduled to be Monday the 25th. But I think there would probably be a lot of people that would be in favor of trying to do like evening swims, get pencils out, and we have enough lifeguards. We're really losing lifeguards quickly. That's part of the reason why it's 25th.
Sure. Well, so many of them are in high school, back to school as well.
College too, leave town for college.
Did we keep the field goal open past, August?
No.
Okay.
Historically, it's always been a challenge.
Yeah.
Even if you did find enough lifeguards, it's so sporadic as far as attendance. So,
People starting like practices and
yeah, once school starts, everything else, everyone's
Maybe after school,
mindset just
Yep.
goes other places. It'd be nice, I know you can have 100-degree day versus September and everyone's clamoring.
Yes.
Yeah. Anything else with the aquatic center? Thank you for the update, Dan. Dr. Park.
So I think we mentioned at a previous meeting that we have an Eagle Scout who is interested in doing cleanup and installing a bench and some obstacles for the dogs. On this Saturday, he's gonna be there cleaning up the nails and the debris from the park. And then August 23rd is a tentative date that he has to install the bench, and they got some giant tires donated from Les Schwab, and he's gonna bury them half in the ground so the dogs have tires to run over and climb over. And he's gonna try and get Ace to donate concrete so they can pour the concrete slab, and it'll be big enough that we can go in afterwards and install the shade structure that we have. But he's just gonna do the bench. and the concrete slab and the tires.
Did we ever get the attachment on those lawnmowers, magnets?
No, that was part of his project too.
Okay.
He's gonna go with a wand and block the whole thing. Yeah. Actually, I don't know if it's better than a wand, I like your little nail gun.
Yeah.
That sounds good. The Facebook group would probably be willing to show up and help it. I've got a date, I can put it on Facebook. When I was here before, and I wanted to be here last meeting, but it turned out to be my grandson's birthday and he thought I should be there. Since it was my house and taking the cake. Let's see, what was I saying? My husband and I kind of walked it a little bit, and he was a range specialist when he was working. And there are a lot of places that just don't have any soil. And the plan before when I was here was to seed it, part of it with clover or something. And it would probably be better to do a dwarf fescue that's more drought resistant and it only gets like this tall. That's the max that's out there. But the places where there's no soil, there's just no point in wasting seed and all that. So I took a Google Earth map, view of it to look at where we actually have soil. And I made a couple of copies so I can pass it down. It might be a good idea to just put some like compost and soil in the parts that already have some soil, and they've got some vegetation, and
The whole packet.
and put like shredded bark or something on the areas where there's no soil anyway. The one place has a lot of broken asphalt, and people are complaining that their dogs' pads are getting cut up. I was one people was complaining about it this winter. That I put little pads on her feet, she was fine, but if we just did shredded bark or pea gravel, something soft that's not sharp over those areas, then you wouldn't have to mow it or anything. And it wouldn't be an uphill battle, there's just no soil. But the places where you have alfalfa coming up already, that would be a good place to put down some compost, some topsoil, and seed in something that's drought resistant like dwarf fescue. Because it's durable, it doesn't take a lot of water. Right now is a good time to look at what's growing there and say, this is where we can actually grow something, and the rest of it is just not really feasible to, as a taxpayer, I appreciate the idea of not wasting money on things. And then some people have talked about maybe we should have a dig pit, where just have a place where it's kind of confined and put sand in there, and dogs that like to dig just go there. Instead of trying to get people to fill in the holes when their dogs dig inappropriately. And there's a lot of sand over one area that would be a good place for them. And then the people on Facebook were kind of like, well, what can we just donate? What do we need a Parks Board permission for before we do it? If I build a bench, can I just bring it and put it out there? And I said that I would ask, because, we don't want to have people just showing up and doing any old thing, but if somebody wants to donate a bench, is that a bad thing? So also some people said, well, if the dog bags were on the inside of the fence instead of the outside of the fence, maybe people would do a better job of keeping it clean. And this summer, I've been across the Great Plains like 3 times this summer with my dog, family things. And so we visited a lot of dog parks, and the ones that had just the little boxes of doggy do bags, just zip tied to the fence, were the cleanest ones. People had no excuse. The bags are right there, and the garbage can's right there, they can just do it. And I think that the gate problem is that the posts weren't put in real deep because, well, it's really rocky. And there's been some frost heave, and maybe if it was straightened out and then put a bar across to make it like a color gate, it would hold it in place, and we wouldn't have that problem of the gate tilting and then the latch doesn't work. So I put some notes in there, and I'm retired, so I can contact me. I'm usually around with my dog. But there are a lot of people that come to the dog park, and I've noticed that there are people who are coming who are from out of state, they're just traveling through, and it comes up on Google Earth or Google Maps as a place that there's a dog park, and so people stop. And I think it's something that if we made it nicer, people would stop longer and maybe shop and maybe go to restaurants and stuff like that. There are places in Cheney that are very dog friendly. And when I was traveling, I used the app and I was looking for a place that's got a dog park, and we could make it more of a welcoming place that would attract people. Cheney's a nice place, I think. And if we can get people to come off the freeway, I was driving back from the dog park the other day, and there was somebody who had stopped and was walking their dog in somebody's cow pasture. I said, "Did you know this time we're opening the dog park?" Oh, you don't have to climb over somebody's barbed wire fence and worry about bulls and stuff like that. You could go to the dog park. So if it's nicer, then the word will get out and people will spend more time there.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. This is great ideas.
On the dog park, we had a meeting this morning, and they are getting quotes to pave the parking. As this thing developed, a couple years ago, there was some pushback on a parking lot at all. And I insisted on it, so then.
I like it, I'm all for it.
Yeah, well then, in order to placate the others, then they just threw in grindings.
Yeah.
Which I don't like, it looks like crap, so I think we're finally coming around to getting that done, and I'm not happy at all. I pounded the table to get decent fencing in there, and they still use some thin wall crap.
It
And
does.
now you're seeing that doesn't even 2 years and it's already, I don't know, it can be fixed and salvaged, but I was hoping that we'd have they're trying to cut corners and that's what you get now. So now we gotta go in and fix it. There needs to be some fill added right in the entrance.
Yeah, a lot of places that I went had the entrance was cement, so there's no mud puddles right there.
Yeah,
And you don't want other stuff real close to the entrance, because you want to get in and out without any dog fights or anything, but I think it's nice to cover on cement so you don't have mud.
so I guess the whole concept here, we've got it, we've come a long ways in 5-6 years or whatever. But we've had plans and it's all set up for a watering station. We had grant funds for that shelter, and we have nobody to do it. Everyone's working on the purple pipe and all the other street projects and parks then so now with a director, I want to see that we can get some dedicated funds. The dog park seemed to take up a lot of our time and energy because I knew it was going to be popular. But if we're going to have one, let's get this thing done right.
Yeah.
I'm really frustrated where we got some really good clean field dirt just at the 50-acre park. We were intending to, put in like 30, 40 truckloads. As far as I'm concerned, Selney Park is irrigated by well 4. We could run a line down the park and irrigate this area as well.
That would be nice.
And then get it on a mowing schedule. But all that is not free.
Yeah.
So, let me just add, the survey on the park board, I think you realize the parks are, you get two funding sources, and that's all parks has in them. The one being whatever Kelly and Ethan get from rec. You know, that revenue is pretty much self-funded. He's done a great job. And that's half or less than half, somewhere in there. I haven't looked at it for a while as far as the total revenue.
I think 30%.
Is it 30?
Or I think that was budgeted, but it's probably maybe it's more than that.
It could be a little bit more. It's amazing how much we bring in and have that. The others from our utility tax that we started in 2004. And it was never really meant to do, it was just enough to keep things going. Well, over the years, the city run into other financial situations. It was always just left to its own. So it's the only one of the few self-funded park programs that I'm aware of in the state of Washington. They generally always have some, we get funding from, we got a fire coming,
Fire alert, you know.
and Lord, we gotta run out now.
Stevens, yeah.
Anyhow, long story short, I've only got a few meetings left, but I've been making my thoughts known that and I always have, that the parks need more funding. It can't all go for public safety. And, so I'm still working on that, but, now with someone dedicated to budgeting and all that, I think we can make some strides in getting that part, finished. And finished so that it's a lot more usable and, durable and more inviting. I have never heard anyone argue against it on the city council. It's always been resources. So we just need to work a little bit harder on securing more resources. But the paving will go in, and there's just nobody else left. So the new director and staff will have their work out, but I think there's ways to get that expanded as far as funding. I guess there's another, I come to the park board just as a volunteer, but I'm mentioning and asking the mayor, I think you should have a city council liaison, full-time. That we have other council represents other things. I think it's important that you have someone on council, not to be involved in the meetings, but to see and hear what the needs are. So that, it's not that, a director will go to the meetings, but it helps to have someone actually as an advocate. I think that would be helpful. So I'm gonna put a pitch in for that. The other things we talked about today, I was at a public works committee meeting we had this morning rather than tomorrow morning for a scheduling issue. But the paving for the, what else was there? There was a host of things, but it does not hurt for park board members to submit an email or something to city council members as hey, what if we could get some more funding for, and you go down your list. Make sure you keep your list current too, because that is worth millions of dollars literally. And you can see with the collective minds being here and the council and the community what you can have, like at the aquatic center. I think that's just a good beginning. We got work to do on that 50-acre park. We talked about that. We've talked about that ad nauseum with regard to our CO. There needs to be attention, full-time attention, pointed in that direction along this mother. So I think everything's looking good. It's just we need to keep pushing forward on getting the rightful resources.
Paul, if there are people on the Facebook page wanting wanting to help with the dog park. Would them, if they chose to donate, would that be a good thing or a bad thing?
Donate money's good.
Okay, because
If
then.
you got people willy-nilly wanting to put, the issue I've always run into, someone puts a bench in there, then it's
Yeah.
sacred. So I always say, again, we get back to this gifting catalog.
Yeah, no.
I would just assume if they wanna donate, money's great, or if you wanna do a work party or something, you can do that, but we need to know they have to volunteer as volunteers, and we have to take information in case they step on one of those nails and they need medical attention, that always comes into play, but
I was just thinking though that if they did donate money, then the city council saying, oh, well, then they don't need that money, the communities do.
no, that should be a total different thing.
Okay,
It would be similar, there's gonna be ongoing discussions for the next few years on how do you support the aquatic facility. Just because you have, community, donations coming in doesn't mean that city council can deduct
oh, right,
the
yeah,
budget.
right.
That needs to be, and the council's talking about, okay, what level of, funding or subsistence do we do, where the old pool was about 50% funded, in addition to meet the expenses. The gate fees weren't covered, and I don't know that you'll find that with this new facility either, you're not gonna be able to cover all. And I don't want to, because it gets too dang expensive for the users. So, and that comes in, again, that the general fund should be called upon because it's a general activity that they need to contribute from the general fund. That they were so gun shy all the years, and we're unfortunately might be going into kind of an economic downturn, but nonetheless, as you'll see, the more better recreational amenities you have can offset some of the crime and crap that you have if you don't have these things. So I'm not buying in on, I never have. I think public safety and recreation go hand in hand. You can't just have it all for one and not the other. So, but it takes some input from others. And I'm glad we got the dog park. I think we just need to make it a park that is worthy of Cheney, not just an afterthought. And the same with the 50 acres, same with all of our parks are valuable. There's a ton of work to do, but it's right there. I think we can put it together. We just need to think in those terms and have from the park board make it known, because you will be the ones on the tip of the spear, so to speak, on what the needs are. And then that has to go over to council on when we start a budget now. That's a good time to have that list brushed off. And, so it's all good. It's just, I look forward to it. It's taken a lot longer than I thought, but we're getting here slowly. But I think we make some major leaps here.
Thank you, Paul. Anything else more on the dog park? Not. Great. Talk about Dan. Shelby's not here. No action items. Board member reports.
I have one thing. There was a post on Facebook with regard to archery. There's some interest in an archery club or just having some place for archery. And I immediately thought of the 50-acre park. There's lots of room out there. And, even with that hill, that would be a good backdrop for that. And the person who posted, I invited him to the meeting tonight, and I thought he was gonna come, but, so, and now I can't find, I don't remember his name, I did. Anyway, so, and then there was a lot of interest once, on that, thread, so that might be something that we look into.
We contracted with an archery group this summer to offer an archery camp. She was just getting her business started up, but she did express interest in coming out in Cheney, but she kind of needed to get a little more established before she started traveling out to other areas, but there is interest there to come out and offer programs in Cheney.
There's lots of moving targets out there in that 50-acre park.
I think I've seen more dogs in that park than I have in the dog park.
Any other board member reports? If not, staff reports?
I'll kind of piggyback on what Paul was saying, is that, so for our RCO eligibility for beyond 2026, in order for us to maintain that, so we can apply for grants, we have to have our park prioritization plan updated by June 2026, which is really pretty close. And so I don't know if you guys remember past park plans, but there's a lot of community input. And so we reached out to BW Public Administration, I can't remember which department it is, but they just kind of help specialize in those type of projects. So hopefully we can get them on board again. But this next year can be really, we have a lot of legwork and homework to do to make sure that we're understanding what the public wants, and so that we're kind of shovel ready with their grant opportunities, including stuff like the dog park. So, well, anyway, that would be something that, I'm sure people would participate in, so.
Is there anything else for good order? If not, we'll conclude the August meeting, and we'll see everyone in September at the Aquatic Center. Okay. Thank you.